Tip, Varnakomala, who is on our Digital Boost team. He's a specialist and he's been running the ship here while we all had a little bit of a break. So grateful to him for taking over the holidays for me. Thank you, Tip. And today we're going to be talking about social media channels explained. So we use social media in our business every day, probably, and we want to know the best and most effective both platforms to use and how to use them. So we're going to talk about that today. You're going to dive deep, aren't you, Tip?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Amazing.
Awesome. Well, I know that you've got so much content. I've had a look before. It's going to be really a great session. Make sure that you're using the Q&A chat function or comment section, depending on the channel that you're streaming from, in order to get your questions answered by this digital expert.
Cool. Amazing. I've missed your little intros, for sure. It's good to have you back, and it's good to have all of you back today. Hope everyone had a good weekend, and yeah, it's good to see, you know, familiar faces, new faces, I'm sure. So social media channels explained. So there's so many tools and so many ways to use them. So we'll kind of go over the main ones that, you know, I feel New Zealand businesses should use or should consider, and then after that we'll kind of talk about, you know, which one's which. But, you know, if you have a specific business in mind or you have a specific channel you're interested in, please use the chat. You know, like, we definitely want these to be interactive this week, because we want to talk to you and we want to see, you know, what might work best for your business or how we can help, you know, say, hey, you know, your business could really use this platform, etc. So yeah, so, you know, just throw in any questions along the way. We can go through them throughout. Just bump in and Mary whenever you want. But I guess the key one to start with is Facebook, because it's the biggest. You know, I'm sure many of you have it. I know many people do not, but you know, potential audience in New Zealand is 3.2 million, which is, you know, more than half. It's quite a lot of people. The key features are stories, posts. So this is like the main content. So this is so if you, I'm gonna say that, you know, most of you have used Facebook, will kind of aware of what it looks like, but, you know, a post is what comes up on the feed. A story is like more imagery and it comes up, you know, at the top, those little circle things that you click. So you can do posts, you can do video. A key thing that people sometimes overlook is the messenger function. So, you know, I think Messenger is like one of the most popular messaging platforms in New Zealand. Messenger is Facebook's messenger. So yeah, so essentially, you know, you can use that to talk to your customers, you can use that to answer queries, you can use that to, you know, do all kinds of things. You can do ads, of course. Ads are, you know, definitely, I feel for small businesses, Facebook ads are like the best ones to start with. There's pages, there's groups, there's Messenger twice for some reason. There's Instagram integration. So if you don't know, Instagram is owned by Facebook, or I think they've renamed themselves Meta. So if you do post on Facebook, you can also set it up to post on Instagram as well, which is really helpful, you know, if you're time poor, because it's just, you post it once and then it posts on both platforms. So yeah, there's also a marketplace and a shop. So if you're e-commerce, you can bid on your items just like you could do on like Wix or Shopify and stuff. People can't buy directly, but it's a really good way to just highlight your products. And the strengths is Facebook is the world's biggest social media site, and it comes with inbuilt advertising platform that lets businesses target posts to a certain market in terms of age, gender, location, and interest. So it's honestly quite infinite how detailed targeting you can get. So, you know, you can say people who are interested in coffee, who live in Auckland, and, you know, under 40. So that's me, right? So yeah, definitely, you know, if you aren't using it, definitely have a Facebook page, because you know, I wouldn't say it's as important as having a website, but, you know, there's definitely a lot of, I guess, a lot of people who do look on your Facebook to see if you've been posting, you know, see if you've been active, see, you know, like what your food looks like, what your services look like, you know, who owns a business. People do research, you know, especially, you know, people do research what businesses they want to support or they want to buy from. So definitely, you know, keep it updated, you know, and yeah, it's definitely a good tool. So especially good for, so each social media will have like some strengths and what is especially good for. So creating a business page and community-driven conversations. So, that's kind of, as I said, like it's completely free to create a page. It's completely free to talk to your customers. It's kind of like just getting them to like your page. You can do cost-effective targeted advertising. So I'd say it's a lot simpler than like your Google ads or, your YouTube ads, because you just need a few pictures, you just need a text, like probably a website, and then you can target, whoever you need to. In-depth audience insight, so it lets you know, like who your customers are, what age, where they're from. And yeah, you can also increase your SEO website traffic through brand recognition. So, it's important in terms of just like knowing, for Google to know who you are, and of course for your customers to know who you are. And of course, Facebook is really good for mobile phones because a lot of people do go on mobile on Facebook. So yeah, it's really good to reach those users as well, which I'm sure is most of us these days. End of each section will have like the demographics just to kind of highlight, what kind of people there are. So you can see that, there's a lot of people. There's 700,000, I think, if you add the zeros. So, I think Facebook is, you can see mostly 25 to 24, but then if you add everything up, it's kind of a bit of everyone, right? I think 13 to 24 is like the only one that hasn't really increased much lately, but, most of your customers will be on Facebook. So definitely something to consider. And yeah, Facebook is probably like one of the easiest ones to recommend because it's so huge. As I mentioned, Facebook's little brother or sister, as you were, is Instagram. So Instagram is also owned by Facebook. They also have stories and posts. They have reels, which if you've heard of TikTok, it's very similar to that. So it's like little like bite-sized videos where you can kind of be a bit creative. And yeah, so I guess it's kind of like a place where you can be creative and show off your product in a different way. There's a shop as well, so you can do a little bit of e-commerce on it. Like you can't directly set up purchasing, but you can send them to pages on your site where they can. And there's also ads, which is linked to the Facebook ad platform. So yeah, I guess, does anyone use Instagram? Let us know. Do you prefer Instagram or Facebook? I'll let you know my answer at the end. But yeah, you can see, we've got the gender here, so it's a little bit more female. A lot of them are quite 50-50, but there are some differences or some little variances. Instagram. So Instagram is perfect for imagery. Really lets you highlight products and people. So yeah, if you're like an industry that sells food, or your service industry, or I guess most things, you want something to look good, it's a really good way to highlight it, because the way that the experience in Instagram works is yeah, it's quite, I guess it's kind of tailored to be pretty, and they want everything to be pretty. Favorite tool for influencers, because again, you can kind of show off visual stuff, you can show off products, and a high number of younger users are under 35. I've seen you pop up.
I know, I have popped up.
Oh,
we've got a question here from Laura, and it says, hi Tip, do you think we should start with 1, who is our defined customer, 2, which channel they are the most on, and 3, what time they are on, therefore makes aware marketing channel decisions. Demographics first for me, market to all equals market to none. So basically, like, do you think they should have a strategy on how they pick the channel that they're going to use?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so definitely. So if we go back to, so definitely, like, I think Facebook is a weird one because kind of everyone on it is on it, except for those under, I guess, 35. You'll find less people on it, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, like, I think if you've heard of a persona, that's actually something we're doing at Digital Boost this week as well. So it's something that it lets you say, hey, like, my usual customers, because again, your customers better than anyone else. So you say, hey, my customers are usually like, maybe they're like mothers with like young children, maybe because maybe that's the product you sell. Maybe they usually what else is it? Maybe their interests are in like soccer because their children play soccer or something like that. Maybe they live around schools and stuff. So different, like, you can kind of do all of that. And then once you've got a persona, you'll find that a lot of the Facebook audience settings when you do ads do show that, like, you know, you can say, oh, people who are interested in soccer, you can definitely like, or football, I should say, you can definitely like target those people there. What channel are they most on? And then you can like, obviously like no one fits into like perfect into each bucket, but you can definitely like be creative with it as well. So yeah, definitely figure out who your defined customer is. And then I would say that is by persona. Number two, which channel are they most on? And that's kind of like, you can kind of have a look at these stats. These slides will be on our website, and then you can see, hey, like their age is I guess often 35, and you can see that a lot of people over 35 go on Facebook. So there's not 100%, it's not 100% that they'll be on it, but it's quite likely. And then what time are they on? In terms of timing of social media posts, I don't think that's relevant anymore, because what social media used to be like was, you know, you would post at like, you know, 3 o'clock after school, and then that's how you would get, you know, all of like a lot of reactions and content and stuff. It matters a little bit, but not really these days, because Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform will show you what's relevant, not what's most recent. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about timing. Obviously don't post at 3 a.m, you know, don't post at 6 a.m. Actually, maybe post at 6 a.m. depending on who your business targets. But yeah. And then your last bit was demographics versus me, market or marketed none. I don't really know what you mean about that, but oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, so definitely figure out who your defined customer is. I think that's what you mean. So definitely don't, I guess don't waste time and money on doing like ads, especially until you know who you want to target. But in terms of social media posts, I think it is good to get like social content running. But that was a really good question. Thanks, Sarah. If I didn't answer anything properly, just send a follow-up. Oh, I thought has engagement code one after your post. Has this changed? I would say, yeah, engagement probably does, but also like, you know, sometimes you post something on social media and no one will see it until like later that day. It like, because if someone goes on social media a lot, they might give them a most recent post. But if someone only goes like, you know, comes on like once or twice a day, Facebook or Instagram will probably show all the things that they missed from this morning that are really relevant to them. So maybe for me, you know, maybe I'm really into like coffee. Maybe they'll show me all these like coffee brands that I followed. Maybe they did a few posts, and then they'll show me that I missed them and say, hey, like, you know, these are some things you should have a look at. But yeah, I would say it's something to think about what time you post, but it's not like the be all end all as much as it was like even 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, like you'd post at, I think it was like 6 p.m, right, to get the people who, you know, after dinner scroll social. But these days the algorithm is so complicated, like, you know, no one knows what it means. I doubt Facebook knows what will come up first, right? So yeah, definitely think about the timing, but don't overthink it, essentially. I'd say, yeah, and by that I mean just make sure that you have content running. Cool. I don't know where we were, but yeah, so for Instagram, you know, high number of younger users under 35 on Instagram. So yeah, it's especially good for businesses where your look and feel is important. And this is the potential reach. So you see that, you know, 25 to 35 high, 18 to 24 really high, and then it kind of just, even like, especially because it's like a smaller sample size as well, and then it kind of goes down from there, which is what we expect. So definitely, you know, clearly you can see if your defined audience is younger, this is the place to be. LinkedIn, very different to Instagram, but all the same important. So there's 2.2 million users on LinkedIn. The data is kind of hard to find. They're not all active, but I'm sure many of you have heard of or even use LinkedIn very often. The key features are jobs, posts, there's messaging on it. It's like your online resume, networking, and you can do ads on it, which is really important. If yeah, so I'd say LinkedIn is quite like B2B, business to business. It's business oriented networking website geared specifically towards professionals. You get good exposure to hiring managers and recruiters. So, if I feel like these days it's quite a good place to, post jobs because it links to people's profiles. So people do apply for a job on LinkedIn. You can click on their profile. That's kind of like doing like a stalk, right? So you can go on their profile and see like, hey, like, Tip has experience in this. Oh, I can see that he worked in this relevant job for 3 years, he'll be great for this job, stuff like that. So, and then as a business owner, if you are hiring people, it's a really good place to see people's knowledge, credibility, and experience, right? And yeah, and then as I said, good for business to business and sales professionals and businesses looking for opportunities in network. So if you're looking, it's like I feel lately we've found that people who are looking for help with something. So maybe you want to do something really complicated. Maybe you want to let me think. Maybe you want like an SEO expert to just do everything for you. This is kind of like somewhere that you could find something like that. Or maybe you want to look for like a website developer. Definitely one to try. The reach you can imagine skews older because it's professionals, people in like established career jobs, right? Quote unquote. So yeah, definitely get on it if you haven't already. It's not all like businessy, it's not all like super serious. Sometimes there's a lot of good conversations that can be had there. Anna Murray is very active on it, so Digital Boost is on it. We host these on LinkedIn. It's definitely like it's a very different place to Facebook, I'd say, but it's definitely a good place to be if you're a business. YouTube. So YouTube is very different. And also, actually, I'm interested. Do our users use LinkedIn? Like, let us know, please, in the chat. Like, honestly, we're kind of trying to figure out ourselves and like where our users are. So if you do use YouTube, you do use LinkedIn, you do use Facebook, please let us know. But for YouTube, YouTube is the most watched platform in like New Zealand, more than like TVNZ, more than TV1, more than even Netflix, more than Disney Plus, right? So, it's definitely like the reach here is incredible. It's kind of like some people might not call it social media, some people will. I think it's really important to talk about just because it's so huge and there's so much value on it. So the key features for a small business perspective is the videos and the ad platform. So the videos are, you can watch, you can also host, and the ad platform is linked to Google Ads. So if you did do like video ads, it's a good place to be on. So in terms of strengths for a small business, it gives you the ability to upload high quality, short or long form content. So a really good example is, I'd host like hey, like meet the team, meet Tips Cleaning Services team. This is our office. This is Benji. He's our content person. Stuff like that. You can do whatever short content, whatever long content, and you can host it on your website. It's a really, like I mentioned this last week, but it's a really good place to host videos that can and then you can like link them to your website. So if you want to host a video on your website, I'd put it on YouTube first because people are quite used to like the YouTube platform. They know how to change the quality. They know how all the buttons work. So definitely one to consider. It's overtaken TVNZ1 as the most watched platform in New Zealand. As I mentioned, so 48% of users say they use it daily, and consumption of online video is now at over an hour a day. So that's kind of incredible when you think about it. That's a lot of like screen, eyes on screen. So definitely make the most of it, whether you want to advertise on it or whether you want to be on it. Especially good for businesses can use YouTube to educate the audience in the form of how-to tutorial. So this is a really cool one. I'd say you're like maybe you're like a carpentry, you offer carpentry services, or maybe plumbing services. It's a good place to be like, hey, like, this is how you do this really simple thing. And it gives you authority. So if Tips Plumbing, shows me how to reseal a crack in my sink. I don't know anything about plumbing, but we'll make it up on the spot. And you say, oh wow, like Tips Plumbing is really, I really like this guy. He's really helped me a lot. When you do need help, they might consider you. Another example maybe, Tips, we say SEO services. He made this really quick explainer video on SEO. He's New Zealand based. That's really cool. Maybe I'll reach out to him if I need help. Stuff like that, right? It's kind of like building authority through videos and, I guess kind of showing that you're knowledgeable, because sometimes it is hard to find people, but this is kind of how you can let people find you. And then another thing I kind of mentioned is you can see more relatable by showing a behind the scenes look into your business. So yeah, like meet the team. This is what our services look like. This is how clean your house can be if you hire Tips cleaning services. And the potential reach is kind of like incredible. It's just everyone really. Obviously it skews older, like the older you skew, the less percentage of viewers, because they'll be on like normal TV, but definitely younger people is incredible. Like most people are kind of skewing towards it. Every TVNZ, no, New Zealand on Air, sorry, they do like a big survey every year where they, see like what people are watching, the percentage of, what people are looking at, and YouTube constantly goes up and up and up. So I expect that to continue in 2022. TikTok. So TikTok is, one that we at DigitalBoost are really excited about because it's super new and, it's really exciting. It's kind of scary, right? What is it? It's for young people, is it? Like it's interesting. So we'll go through the key features. So the key features are posts. So it's kind of like you kind of essentially you scroll down like a homepage and they've got like all these different like videos that are user created. You can do ads which come in with the post. So you scroll, it's kind of like Facebook and Instagram, right? And content can be created on the app as well. So yeah, you can see, it's in New Zealand, it skews quite female at the moment. My computer is angry, but strength, the algorithm is probably the key strength. So it starts by sending you a wide range of different videos. So this is if you're a user, and then it learns what you like and what you don't like. That means content is tailored to every single person. So say you're someone who's interested in food, right? Maybe you scroll right past all the, boring engineering videos, but you watch all the recipes. They'll be like, oh, Tip is really interested in food, so we'll give them a lot of content on that. The content is fun and engaging. Users in New Zealand spend 85 minutes a day on TikTok, which is incredible. You saw that the average was 60 minutes, so that's an extra 25 minutes on TikTok, and the videos are like 90 seconds long or something. Yeah, so TikTok is especially good for businesses who want to get creative and stand out from the crowd with quality and interesting content. So it's not for everyone, but it's definitely one that is new, and you can kind of get like the first mover advantage on it if you start probably this year. I feel like from next year it'll be like Instagram where everyone uses it, right? And I already said a good point this morning that it's one of the last places where you can actually get like organic traffic, without having to, I guess, pay to, because I guess Facebook even 10 years ago, you could post, you post at 3 o'clock and you get like all the after school, just picked up their kids, people go on Facebook. But these days you can't. So you do need to do ads. But for TikTok, the timing doesn't work, but you can definitely get organic reach on it because there are a lot of ads, but also, a lot of the content is organic. Gen Z, the oldest of whom are 24 or 25 maybe, are often found on TikTok. So if you do, you're selling like, if your audience is younger, definitely go on TikTok, but not necessarily, I know that a lot of the big banks are going on TikTok now, a lot of the big, the big banks, the big businesses in New Zealand. So definitely if they're going on it, I think we should all as well. It's clearly visual, but it's also important to note that sound is always on, which means users give their full attention of their eyes and ears to content that is being consumed. And this is interesting because even with like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, people are just scrolling. On TikTok, people have their headphones in, they're looking at their screen, they're hearing, they're seeing, everything. So they're giving their full attention, which which I guess, not even with TV, not even with other social media platforms. So this is quite a unique feature of TikTok. So not only are you getting a lot of reach, but the reach is, very engaged. And in terms of audience data, so, clearly it is, mostly younger, but this is from the middle of last year. I feel like it's changed quite a lot already. We'll be sure to post the latest data when we get it. But yeah, I mentioned this last time, but learn more about TikTok with Andrea Bose. A super interesting video if you want high level, or like you want to learn about the algorithm, you want to learn lots of interesting, like, I guess, like a TikTok strategy. It's really cool. On Wednesday, we're going to do like a TikTok like 101. So it's probably like the level below this. It would include some of this, but it'll be explaining, how you can use it, when you should use it, how you can sign up even, right? So we'll do that on Wednesday. And before we go to the rest, we've got a question again. So for me, YouTube, I've incorporated to my digital strategy that, cool. That when and if another COVID lockdown occurs, then we go live, recorded how to do home care. The flow and effect is feel part of a community increase on the sales of used products at home. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then like, I think if you post that onto all your other socials, definitely like, because video content is probably one of the most time consuming, time demanding, but it can also be the most rewarding. So that's really cool. Because, a lot of people are scared of it, and, a lot of people are like, don't really, I guess, yeah, a lot of people are scared of it, and like, it can be hard, but, definitely, if you look at, the most famous YouTubers, right? If you look at their first few videos, they were just pumping out content, just, being like, oh, like that, like, don't care if only 10 people looks at it, people will find it when they will. And cool. So based on the rest, probably time. Cool, perfect timing. So based on the rest, so these are the other ones that I feel are, quite relevant to businesses, or they might not be to you, but something to think about. So Snapchat is a machine app that lets user exchange pictures and videos that are meant to disappear after they're viewed. It's typically popular for Gen Z and younger, so consider creating content on here. This is your audience. So yeah, it's not for everyone. I think it, like, to be honest, it is like, I mean, I am 25, but I feel like it's kind of plateaued and kind of gone down for me, but you can do content on it, and there are a lot of people on it. So definitely consider creating content on here. If you sell like, makeup products, or you sell shoes or fashion, to the younger audiences. WeChat is a Chinese social media phone app. I say social media, but it's honestly a bit of everything. You can take payments, you can pay for things, you can, I think, like, especially in China, you can do like, honestly, like everything. It's kind of like Facebook, but probably even more. You can do like everything on it. It features messaging and video chat, but it also allows, payments, games, and other helpful tools. And, people of Chinese descent all around the world are very active on this app. So if this is, especially as this is the key form of communication with family back home and around the world, because, Facebook and YouTube and all that are banned in China. So people who want to talk to people back home usually use WeChat. So if, the Chinese market is someone that you want to talk to, definitely consider it. If you are interested in WeChat and you want to learn more about it, we do have I say expert. We've got Lily on our team who uses it quite a bit. She's more than happy to talk to anyone about it. So if WeChat is something that you want to learn more about, give us a message. Our contact details is at the end, and then we can put you in touch with Lily, who's amazing and knows so much about it and is just knowledgeable in general. So that's great. Twitter. So Twitter allows users to share short text-based snippets of 160 characters or less alongside imagery or links. it's often the forefront of popular culture and news. Twitter has a huge market share in the US and overseas, but uptake in New Zealand is a lot smaller in comparison. I think I was talking to some people like last week, and I think Twitter is quite big for like sports, politics, and like the tech field in New Zealand. We don't really use it as much as overseas. Like I know that in like America and Europe and stuff, it's kind of like it's something that they check every day. They post on it every day. We don't really have that here, which is really interesting to me, to be honest, because it's quite a cool platform. But I guess because we don't use it that much in New Zealand and it's quite saturated with overseas posting, there are ads on it. You can definitely post on it, I feel, but yeah, I don't really.
You've been handling all the questions like a star, running the session and handling the questions. So just a question about what you think the highest growth in social media channels was for 2021. I've got my own idea, but we're probably on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll TikTok, right? Like
it's gonna be TikTok. And the
yeah.
reason, now they're focusing on an older generation. Like I feel like it didn't fit with my generation for quite a while, but now that they've incorporated so much business stuff, it's, I still find the platform quite daunting, I must say, but I think that, we just need to get in there. I'm looking forward to that session this week, Tim.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. In the office last year, we actually had a 9-year-old teach Anna Mary and I how to do TikTok. So I guess that sums it up how, I guess if a 9-year-old can do it, the rest of us can, right? Surely.
They're just like, bop, 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 done. That's your first TikTok. And I was like, really?
Yeah, definitely. I think like ever since the pandemic, TikTok has kind of blown up like year over year. And then, I think they've kind of captured like the youngest market in 2020. So that was like probably like under 18 even. I think 2021, it's like probably 18 to 30. I know a lot of people around my age. I see you laugh at my age, Lara.
She was having a bit of a
yeah. I feel like a lot of my peers are on TikTok now, like myself included. I got into it last year, 2021. I feel like 2022 is the year for, it to go even higher if it continues this trend, right? So definitely get on it. If you haven't already, it's like, again, I think the algorithm is so like robust. It's so like detailed. It's so like,
I think that, Dean has just commented that he has a 9-year-old helping him with TikTok as well. And what I'd say is find somebody younger than you if you don't know the platform and, do a little walkthrough, show me how to do this. We're going to show you some tips and tricks. We're going to show you how to get on there and stuff like that this week. But sometimes it's nice to sit down with somebody and have them kind of show you through how to do that if that's the way that you learn. So and there's plenty of folks that use it, but I think with Shopify teaming up and integrating with TikTok, it is a really good advantageous thing for you to take advantage of, because it is one of the only platforms with organic reach that you don't have to pay for. It's a way that you can expand your reach exponentially. I mean, we had a few speakers come on last year and they were saying they put up a TikTok and they had 1 million hits off of a TikTok that they did. The guy from Shopify said that. And you just can't get that on other platforms. But what we're going to talk about in that session is also how you can take things that you're comfortable with doing, producing content, say for Instagram, and using an app that'll allow you to put it onto TikTok, and it won't be, a lot of platforms don't like it when you take content and you push it to another platform if they don't own that platform. But there are a few apps that you can use that will convert it so it thinks it's new content. So we'll give you a couple of links to those things as well in that session, so that you don't have to necessarily create new content. You can reuse your content from Instagram and push it out onto this platform.
Yeah. And then I think, because I know a lot of small businesses are, quite time poor. That's a really efficient way to get content out, good content, maybe you spend like a couple hours doing it, but you can post it on, 2 or 3 platforms. And then, that's like your social media post for the day for 3 platforms instead of just 1, right?
That's right.
And yeah, I might do the rest of the questions at the end. I'll just kind of run through the last few slides. So any questions about anything, please drop them in the chat or in the comments on Facebook or LinkedIn. But I guess I went back to the slide because if you remember, I said Snapchat is on a downward trend for, people like in New Zealand. I feel people use it a lot less. And I think the reason for that is because people are using TikTok more. TikTok is kind of taking over that spot. So we talked about Twitter. WhatsApp is the most popular messaging app in the world, but trials behind Messenger in New Zealand. It's funny because Facebook owns them both. So yeah, so this was a while ago. I'm not sure this is still true, but WhatsApp is quite well used for immigrant communities or people who have family and friends overseas, because that's kind of what people overseas use more than Messenger. So yeah, definitely chat to us if you want to talk about WhatsApp. You can do ads. You can run ads on it through the Facebook ads platform. So again, you can run ads on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, all on the one ad platform, which is quite efficient. So definitely something to think about. And the last one is Pinterest, which is a visual discovery engine for finding ideas like recipes, home and style inspiration, and more. It performs really well with female audiences, especially those interested in lifestyle content such as fashion, home, decoration, and travel. So Lara, if you're still here, this might be one that interests you if you haven't had a look at it already. Not sure you have, but yeah, I guess I know a lot of my arty friends, and they look at Pinterest for inspiration. So definitely one to get on if that's kind of something that you look at.
I had an interesting talk with the folks from Tomahawk. We're going to be running a session on the 2nd of March with Tomahawk, who is actually in the travel industry. And they're going to run the whole session about Pinterest, how to use Pinterest for your business, because it's a really underutilized site that can give you a lot of reach. So I would be keen, if you're keen to learn a little bit more about that, the 2nd of March, tune in. Gina Palladini and Renee Goodsell are fantastic presenters, so easy to follow. And always give great calls to action for us to take home for our business. So tune in that day to learn about Pinterest. I'm really keen to see. I don't think it has to necessarily, usually it is for art, but I don't think, since they're coming in from a tourism aspect, I'm interested to see how they apply it to other businesses.
Totally. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of the original it's the original, I guess, visual platform. Like Pinterest was around before Instagram, right? Like it was where, because I do a lot of photography, it was kind of where I got a lot of inspiration on that. I'm sure there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of like like home and style inspiration. And yeah, I guess if you have a QR code running quickly, we are taking feedback on all these sessions just so we can kind of get a grasp on what's good, what's what we're missing. We'll also put it in the chat, so don't stress if you missed this. I'll leave it for a few seconds. And yeah, again, you can reach out to us on support@digitalboost.govt.nz if you want to chat with one of the team about any of these tools. If you want to learn how to use it, you want to see if the way you're using it we agree with. We can say, hey, like you're using Instagram, but you're not, like it's very text heavy or something, right? So we can give that kind of feedback. That's really cool. Any feedback on us, the email is there, feedback@digitalboost.co.nz. And also, actually, if you're watching a recording and you missed out on questions, just send us an email. Just say, hey, I watched this recording, but I wasn't there, I couldn't make it, but I have this question on this. Just feel free to just send us an email. I'm one of the ones who checks it. And yeah, there's more Q&As. And then I missed the title bit, but there's a coffee and question / meet the team on Thursday. So you can join in with the meeting. You can join us and some members of the team, and we can just have a chat on your business, like what's interesting for you, what you're looking to do in 2022. We had one last week, which was really cool. We met a few cool people, and yeah, it's really cool to get to know you guys.
And see faces and not just names, which is really lovely. I do enjoy that myself. I'm looking forward to it. We do have this one question left from Lara, and it's what do you consider the best resource for us business owners to use to gain marketing insights and basically about the data results for the year gone. So if they had all of this, is there a way to kind of pull all of your data into one place to have a look at it from your social media? I'm pretty sure that's what she's going for there.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like you can do it quite complicatedly, but I think if you just like look at, you know, it by channel, I'd say I'd do that. I'd say, hey, like for Facebook, if you go into your, I think it's your business insights or something, or even if you just Google like, you know, Facebook, or just in the help box on Facebook, display like insights or, you know, reporting and stuff, you can see, hey, in 2021, you know, our ads, you know, 1 million people saw our ads, and then, you know, we got, you know, 50,000 clicks, and then the demographic was this. That kind of stuff is really helpful. You can do that on Google ads, you can do it on Facebook ads. And just from the questions, yeah, and then I guess where to draw conclusions and be informed. I think once you kind of learn more about it, you can kind of figure out what, you know, what to pick out of it. And again, once you pull those reports, we've got some really like cool data people in our team who are happy to be like, hey, like, you know, we can see that this page here, your contact page is really important, but, you know, not a lot of people are bouncing off it, so it means that they're clicking onto it and then they're not actually contacting you. So maybe like, how do we fix that, right? That kind of stuff that we can have a look at and help you draw conclusions on.
There's a good point here that Google Analytics tracks all of that. And so that is just another encouragement that if you're only, you know, promoting via social media and you don't have a website, then, you know, because Google Analytics basically plugs into your website. So you need to have a website in order to hook that up. So I think if you don't have a website, that's probably your first start, right? Like a goal for you to get done this year. Get your website up there. People want to know that you're real. They want to be able to check you out on a number of different systems. And especially if you're linked up with Google My Business, it just further verifies that you are a real business that operates with so many, you know, scams and stuff like that out in the world. We want to make sure that we're really giving our customers every opportunity to know that you exist.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's yeah, no, definitely. I think website, social media, like, you know, it's kind of like a good time to set all that up in 2020, like at the start of this year, you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay, and I'm just having a look. Let's have a session about creating a targeted solution-based digital marketing calendar with specific social media channels depending upon our buyer personas, looking for an omni-channel experience and upload once. Thank you, Tip and Anna-Maria, for your time. See you next week. Awesome. Thanks, Laura. I will put that in the works. We do love doing things like that, and you can use lots of different sites like Publer, Hootsuite, what else we've got, Skids Social. There's so many apps that we can use so that you can post once and push it out, like develop those posts and then push it out, so you're not spending all of your time creating content and publishing, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes due to the nature of the site, we were talking about this morning, you know, sometimes you can't take your Facebook stuff or your LinkedIn stuff and put it on Instagram. It's not necessarily going to cross over. Some of it will, but because Instagram is such a visual platform, some of the stuff won't work. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into social media. So this week we are going to be talking about everything social media, basically. Tomorrow where did I go? I'm in February, sorry. Here we go. Tomorrow we're talking about Facebook advertising explained. Then we're going to TikTok explained. Then we're going to have coffee and questions. And then on Friday, easy to design tools for your business. So lots of good stuff happening this week from the Digital Boost team. And next week, we're going to talk about more graphic kind of stuff, which will be really cool. Yeah, so I think that might be all. Let me just check Facebook, make sure I'm not missing out on anybody's questions. We do have folks tuning in from there. Oh, can we have a session Okay. Oh, it's for the 2nd of March, not the 2nd of February. So if you're looking for that session on the 2nd of March about Pinterest, it's the 2nd of March. And then can we have a session about writing a business and financial plan, please? Oh, we will look into that because we do often have the comic accountant come in, and we had We Accounting come in last year, and they're really good at doing stuff like that because they obviously work with numbers, and that's something that they specialize in, which is quite helpful. There's a really good podcast online with Sam Harith on the Digital Boost Live podcast or app about, what did we talk about? Taxes, how to pay yourself, and a bit about taxes. So check that out. If you don't have the app, download the app, Digital Boost Live. It's pink instead of blue. Yeah. Tip, thank you so much for your time today. You're an absolute legend, and we're so happy to have you on the team and educating us on the daily. Not every day this week, but I don't think.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Really great info. Lots of great comments coming through. Have a wonderful day, DB Funnel, and we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Do message us at digitalboost.co.nz, or sorry, support at digitalboost.co.nz if you need any assistance. We are here to help. Ka kite.
Ka kite.